Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Bill. So today we are going to do squash. So what I caught here is chopping up a lot of this gourd that she's already kind of quartered and took the rind off, and you can see all that over here. But I think we're going to try it two ways. I think I'm going to do a bunch of it raw, just cut up. And then my wife suggested boiling some with salt and cooking it, and then also freeze drying it cooked with salt. So she says that it might make a great snack. So what I'll do is I will go ahead and wait till she's done cutting all this up. I'll go upstairs. We'll get some of the raw stuff on a tray and we'll see how it goes. Stand by, 2 seconds. All right, so I'm back. So what I have is 5 trays of the raw squash. Now I brought one of these squashes up here to let you see it. It's kind of like a pumpkin squash. I will try to put the Tagalog name for what kind of squash that is here, but this is going to be the raw squash. I'm going to go ahead and get it in a deep freeze and get it frozen, because freeze dryer is busy right now doing yet again more mango. Every other batch is mango. So I'm gonna get these guys in a deep freeze, and then Ricard will finish slicing up the other squash and cooking it, and then we'll get those on some trays and get those frozen as well. 2 seconds, stand by. Hey everyone, I'm back. I am going to take the pre-frozen raw squash slices out and get them into the freeze dryer, which I already pre-froze, just so you guys can see me do this step as always. Stand by. Frozen. So we're doing squash two ways. We got this raw squash in slices, which I envision will be good for cooking in soups or making a fresh puree or stew or anything of that nature. And after these 5 trays come out, I'm going to go ahead and do 5 trays of the pre-boiled and salted squash, which is a little more squishy, obviously, because it's been boiled. So I'm not sure how that will line up on the trays, but I wanted to add the 2 different kinds. I want to see which kind is better. Maybe having it pre-cooked and ready to eat is a way to go, you know, because you can eat it as a puree, or you can eat it raw, I guess. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and hit start on this guy. We're going to get this batch going. I will combine this video with the second set of squash, so it's all in one video. So stand by. You'll next see me when I pull this batch out and get it bagged up and get the other stuff ready to go in. 2 seconds. Hey everyone, welcome back. It has been 25 hours and 5 minutes, and the freeze dryer is telling me the raw squash is done. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it here. I'm excited. New product. So not a lot of ice, so maybe that's why the dry time went so quick. Maybe there's just not a lot of moisture that it needs to pull out. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so the trays are hot, and these guys are definitely done. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit no defrost so you guys don't have to hear all this noise. So I'm going to try a little piece of it raw. Now, raw squash, I don't know how it really tastes, but yum. Actually, it's sweet. I'm surprised it's sweet. These might make just a good snack by themselves. Anyways, I'm going to bag them up, and I'm not even going to bother rehydrating these to show you. I'm sure they're going to rehydrate fine as raw squash. I'm going to get them bagged up and put in long-term storage. Stay tuned. In 2 seconds, I will show you the cooked squash going in. Stand by. All right, welcome back everybody. So now's the time to put the cooked squash into the freeze dryer. I just took it out of the deep freeze. So I went ahead and closed the valve, and like always, I pre-froze the Harvest Right. This stuff looks really icy. It's interesting, but we'll get it in here. It's definitely cold, frozen for sure. Now I think this is going to come out good, but I think it's going to be rehydrated more like a, you know, a squash puree. I tried to keep as much chunks as I could. Now this was cooked versus the stuff you saw earlier that was raw veggies used for cooking and stuff later. Where this stuff is going to be primarily used just to eat, right? Just rehydrate it, some hot water, and you can eat it. It's cooked very simple with salt and boiled. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. And we are off to the races on this batch. I will see you in 2 seconds. Stand by. Hey, welcome back everyone. Sometime overnight, the squash had finished, and this is the cooked squash. So I went ahead and gave it some more time where I got my coffee, and let's take it out now and see how it looks. So I'm gonna drop the pressure. I'm kind of excited about this squash. I'll bag it up and then we'll take some of it downstairs and rehydrate it and see how it's going to come across. Now the trays are cold. I did tell it to warm the trays, but it never did warm it. But this stuff is definitely dry. Let me double check. Yeah, it's powdered, it's dry. So, I can show you here. It's completely dried. All right, so I'm gonna bag this stuff up. I'll save a little bit to go downstairs. Give me 2 seconds and we'll see how it tastes. Stand by. All right, so that took me a couple minutes, but I bagged up 13 quart bags, which I would call one extremely large single size or 2 regular size portions per bag. And I've kept what I would call a regular size portion so we can go downstairs and check it out. So let me get this cleaned up. Let me get the bags in long-term storage. Stick with me for 2 more seconds and we'll see how this stuff rehydrates. Stand by. All right guys, so here's the deal. I'm back downstairs. I'm gonna go ahead and rehydrate this cooked squash. Now if you're still watching, or you skipped ahead and you're just now watching again, smash that like button for me. It does help. I'm trying to grow the channel. And if you know anybody that's into freeze drying food or prepping in general, go ahead and share my link. I'd appreciate that. Commercial aside. All right, so here's what we got. I have that portion from upstairs brought down here, some hot water and a fork. And just to show you how dry this stuff is, it is extremely dry. Now this was cooked squash with just a little bit of salt and boiled. It wasn't anything fancy. Let me just add just a little bit of water at a time here. Now I didn't puree it, right? I left it kind of chunky. So I want to make sure that it gets going. It comes back pretty well. So some of this is obviously going to take longer to rehydrate than others. If we look down here. It's a puree. Purees you can rehydrate to preference, but I do want to make sure that I get all of this rehydrated. I'm just going to just a touch more water. Just because there's some big chunks in here. Now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to cover this like I always do. I'm going to give that about 5 minutes and then you'll see me and we'll taste it. Stand by. All right, so it's been 5 minutes, give or take. I went outside, play a game on my phone, came back in. Let's take a look at this Now I haven't sneak peeked yet, so I really don't know. There's a big chunk. I'm gonna put that aside. I want to try that. But this is nothing fancy. It's boiled sliced squash. Let me get this big chunk. And it looks good. The texture's right. Now, obviously, you can puree this and cook it more any way you want. But that's what it looks like. That's good. So the fibrous part of the squash is still there. It's definitely rehydrated, so it's definitely back to good. This is great. So I like this. This is really good. This is a quick, easy side dish. Add hot water and you're good to go. I gotta tell you honestly, I also like the raw flakes as a non-rehydrated chip, just a snack. So I did squash 2 ways in this video. Both ways came out great. Both ways are good. Squash is a great vegetable to have on stock. Now this is, they call it a Kalabasi. Now if you guys from the US notice, it's squash, right? But at the same time, this is a pumpkin substitute. So it would make a squash / pumpkin pie if you wanted as well. Yeah, that came out great. All right, guys, hey, like this video for me. Share if you know anybody that's interested in this kind of content. And thanks for watching all the way to the end. Be good.